Hey everybody! So in today's episode of Vance Does Art, we are going to talk about proportion and scale in a still life. So first, let's just talk about what proportion even means. Proportion is the relationship of one part, like my eye, which is part of a whole, which is my face, and it has a relationship to other parts of my face. So you can have a proportionate face, or you can have a not so proportionate face. Proportion is really important in an art piece because it can determine how realistic or how wonky your art piece is. And our next vocab term is scale, which is the overall size of an object in an artwork. So let's talk about how to create a proportionate and accurate and to scale still life. And here is the example I am going to be using for our drawing tutorial. So every year I have some students who begin their still lives by drawing smack dab in the middle of their paper, and they draw really small. You want to avoid doing this because if you don't measure everything out, you'll have a lot of white space and a cramped composition. So instead, when you start drawing your composition, I would recommend dividing your paper into 4 quarters. And then just like we did in the very first day of this lesson, I started mapping out where my objects are going to go by using rectangles. You want to break down your composition into basic shapes because it will make it easier for you to draw later on. And by using rectangles, I can figure out the relationship of the height of my different objects, which ensures that they will be proportional at the end of my still life drawing process. And figuring out proportions isn't always a quick and easy task. Feel free to take your time. Your mapping out of where everything is going to go is probably going to be one of the most important steps of your still life drawing process because it is so much easier to fix things now as opposed to later once it is already completely drawn out. And remember that once you have mapped out where everything is going to go, then you can begin going in and sketching out the actual shape of your objects. And I would say before you get to this step, make sure that all of your rectangles are the appropriate size and that they are proportionate to one another. And the final skill I want to teach you all is how to use your pencil as a guide to figure out your angles. So I want to figure out if my book angle is correct, so I'm going to put my pencil up to my still life, check the angle, bring it down, see if it matches. It looks like I need to tweak it a little bit, and that's okay. The first stages of figuring out the proportions are going to go back and forth quite a lot. I'm going to check it again, bring it back up to my still life, and that is looking much more accurate. And you can also use the pencil trick to make sure that different parts of your objects are actually at the correct height. So I want to make sure that the lid of this jar is correct compared to my can. So I'm going to pull the pencil up to my image and back down, and it looks like it's almost in the right spot. I just need to make it a little bit longer, and then I'm good to go. So now is your turn to map it all out. Check your sizes of the objects. Make sure you check the angles of your objects, and then you can fill in your shapes to make sure that they are all proportionate and to scale.